The one and only Henry Winkler stars in Barry as Gene Cousineau, an acting coach to a deadly hitman who really just wants to be an actor anyway. He won an Emmy last year and is back to reclaim his title with a second nomination this year. I'm Rob Licuria, senior editor at Gold Derby. Henry, first of all, congratulations on your Emmy nomination this year. Talk us through the morning of.
Okay. I was in Wyoming fishing for trout, and I got the call from Sherry Goldberg, who is my wonderful publicist. And she said, okay, you got the nomination. And so the trout, a rainbow trout with a beautiful rainbow running through it, my guide and I jumped up and down.
Oh, wow. That's so exciting. Like you must be thrilled that you're back to reclaim that trophy.
Well, you know what? I will say that winning the first time was a wonderful thing. Then being nominated for the second one is a wonderful thing. And the configuration of my category is so different from last year that I now just give it up to the gods and play ball with my Labradoodle Sadie.
Let's talk about your win last year, because for many people, it was the moment of the night. So the standing ovation, you said you wrote this speech 43 years ago, and then you thrust that Emmy up into the air. Talk us through that night.
Okay, so I walk up the stairs after having kissed my wife, kissed Bill, kissed Alec Berg, the two creators of Barry. Walk up the stairs and I see the two stars of The Crown. And we had just finished season 2, and I started talking to them about, oh my God, season 2 was so great. It was, and then I realized, oh, I have to make a speech. And so then I turned around and it said on the big television screen in the back, 37 seconds left. I had to get my speech in. And I just spoke so quickly, I didn't know what to do.
Is it really a blur when you're walking up there and you're just like in a bit of a daze?
Do you know what? It really is. You think that, okay, I'm going to be calm. I'm going to just do what I'm going to do. I know my speech, and you get up there and the adrenaline, it's just pumping. It's so exciting that I did not realize until I saw the video afterwards, excuse me, that everybody was standing and applauding it. I was just, it is a lovely thing. It doesn't define you. It doesn't make you better. I'm not better than anybody else in my category. All I did was win the statue that is now on my dining room table opposite the front door in my house.
Yeah, and as you alluded to, that standing ovation, I watched it back the other day just to remind myself, because I remember, I mean, I was so caught up in the moment. I had interviewed you a few weeks prior to,
Sure.
And so I had it was like I had a horse in the race, so to speak. And so that was cool. But then to see the people in the room, I mean, I haven't seen that many happy people in that room for ages. Like, it was a genuine moment. Were you getting a lot of that feedback after the show?
Yes, that I was. After the show, I started to calm down. I saw Jeff Daniels, who I'm crazy about, and Peter Dinklage, who I'm crazy about, and it was very exciting. And then I did all those interviews. There are about 7,000 interviews backstage, and all I kept thinking about is my wife is saying, "Where is he? Where? I'm sitting here by myself. Where is he?" And and then Bill won. It was magical. It was magical.
And so this year, as you alluded to, you're up against your co-stars Anthony Carrigan and Stephen Root.
Right.
Have you guys been able to develop some kind of weird friendly rivalry over who's going to win, or you haven't really had a chance to touch base on this yet?
You know what? I touched base with both of them as soon as I heard. Stephen wrote me back. Anthony wrote me back. I think it would not be great to have any kind of rivalry. Then there is Alan Arkin, who has never won, and then there is Anthony Hale, who Veep is now a beloved show and gone off the air. So if I were to try and figure out, is it anywhere possible in this universe, I would first of all be dead, and second of all, it's an impossibility. So you just give it up to the heaven.
That's right. And as you said last year, I remember it was such a great thing for you. It's a good, really great insight, because you said it's really is an honor to be nominated. It really, really is, until your bum hits the seat. And then all of a sudden you start thinking, no, I really want to win.
And it's true. I have been through it a few times with the Fonz, you're everything is great, and you sit in your seat, your back feels the velvet of the back of the seat, and all you want to do is win. All you want is for them to call your name. And last year they did.
Yeah.
So it's just great. So instead of, if I'm ever in a show starring Henry Winkler, Emmy nominated, it now can say Henry Winkler, Emmy winner.
Yeah, that's it forever now. That's what you'll be referred to as, and that's really cool. So speaking of, the show itself also improved its nominations haul this year. Like, it seemed to really cement itself as a critical darling in season 2. Like, it was very, very big in season 1, but it really exploded this year. Did you get a sense that happened? And what was your perception of what was happening to the show in season 2?
I got a perception from the people that I work with, my managers, the agents, and they all said, oh my God, Barry is the talk of the town. People come up to me, when you're on a show that's working, when you travel and you walk through airports in America, because people will either say hi, they'll call you by a character they've seen you as, or they say, man, Barry is great. Barry is great. And I hear a lot of the B word now. I really do.
Yeah, it's pretty cool. Like, actually, when you're walking, given that you've been on TV for such a long time, and you're such a well-known person, do you find it annoying when people are constantly bothering you in public, or is it something that you're just used to now?
I am used to it. It is, look, I ask people to give me a half an hour of their time every week, every year that I'm on something. And they do. Then they come up and they say, oh my God, I love you. I watched with my mom. I watched with my grandfather. My whole family got together. And they tell you what is meaningful. If you don't have the time to listen, there's a problem. There's a major problem with you, because you're asking people to watch you. And if they say, I really like what you do, and you dismiss them, shame on you.
Yeah, I think that's a pretty good attitude to have, to be honest. So you're nominated this year. Then everybody...
Can I interrupt for a minute? Do you know, really, it takes, unless I am lost, which is very possible because I'm dyslexic, I get lost. I can't find the gate. Unless I'm late for a meeting or whatever, I then get very nervous. But for the most part, it takes about 4 or 5 seconds for that union to happen right then and there. Hey, I think you're great. Thank you so much. I'm just on my way. Boom. They feel good. I feel good.
Sure. Yeah, I think that's the way it's got to be, and that's pretty much what most people seem to say, unless you're not feeling well, or you're in a hurry, as you say, or you're lost and so forth. Now, you picked the episode "What" as your Emmy submission. Every actor has to.
What is my episode?
It's. I've been told that it's "What."
Oh, it's episode 4.
Yeah. But you've got to say it like that because it has a question mark and an exclamation mark in it. So, because obviously, if anyone hasn't seen it, at the end of the episode, Barry kind of almost turns to the camera and screams out, "What?" So it's a great episode.
Well, what happens is that he comes to my house and he reveals his darkest, most dangerous secret to me. And I am right there with him. I am emotionally involved with him. And just excuse me for a moment. I just am going to get the ledger that I do private classes out of. So you're in pain. I'll be right back.
Yeah.
Let me get my pen.
It's so perfect. It's exactly what I would have expected from this character. We also see another side of Gene. There's a part of his life that we hadn't really been privy to before as well. Is that why you picked the episode, that we're seeing different layers of these characters?
You watch the scene, it is deeply touching, I think, and you don't know where the twist is. You don't know what's going to happen. So it was one of my favorite scenes.
Yeah, it's a good example as well of how you interact with Bill Hader on the show. And you've obviously talked at length about the chemistry that you both have and why it works. But really, in a nutshell, why do you think, because sometimes this doesn't happen, this alchemy, why do you think it's happened between you and Bill to make these two characters work?
Do you know what that's a really good question. I have to think about that for a minute, because the alchemy is either there or it's not. You cannot create it out of anything. Either that chemistry exists, or a lot of times you have to do the work of the other actor because they're not kind of giving you what you need in the scene. So you must pretend. With Bill, he is right there with me. I think it's respect. I respect him without any doubt. And I get the same feeling back from him. And we have this wonderful relationship in real life. We go to breakfast together, and he's very open, very warm, very wonderful. And he's a complicated fellow, you know. He's also a cinephile. I think that Bill Hader has seen every movie ever made by a human being on the earth and can quote every line.
Yeah, like, and that's incredible. And I mean, obviously, someone like that will take that into the way that they direct and write, and that's why this show, I think, has really blossomed. It's so artistic. It's not just a comedy series. There's so much more to it. It's very hard to pinpoint because it's also quite dark. What do you feel about the way that the show became a little dark?
Well, you know what I've said this before, but there was an article last year, and the article was the New York Times said, you know, that Barry, the first year was so good, I don't think they should do a second season. And I thought to myself, that might be true. Second seasons always go down the tubes. And then I said, wait a minute, who's in charge? Look what they did. Just be quiet, go to work, and let them do what they do. And then this happened. This second season happened, which was mind-blowing for me, because Bill and Alec, they do 9 jobs together combined. They are incredibly good at all 9, and there is no drama on our set unless it's written. I think they had a rule that they were not going to hire an asshole. That they were only going to hire lovely people. And I think they did. It's amazing. My phone never rings. Here on this chat, it is now like a super phone.
I was just going to say, like, wow, you're having a busy afternoon.
I have a hard line.
Wow.
And they are dinosaurs. My son, Max, does not have a hard line. He only has his cell phone. It's like shocking.
Can you imagine 10 years ago? I don't have a landline either. 10 years ago, that would never have been the case. And now no one really seems to use them anymore.
No, and I love them. I have them in every room. I look at them. I pick them up. I call people on them.
Yeah, it's tactile. You can pick it up and you can press the numbers, and yeah, it's a whole different ball game.
Yeah.
But you know, with Barry, I had the same feeling. So after season 1, I was like, okay, that was perfect. I'm good if they don't do another one because they can't top it, and they did. It's the second season is obviously slightly darker, which is great. It's violent, it's very funny, and it's extremely touching, and that's because of the performances, and that's why we've got so many nominees from the show, and the nominations total exploded. What could possibly happen in season 3 to top that?
I just saw Alec Berg at an HBO party where I met the women from Warrior. I don't know if you watch Warrior on Cinemax, but all of the women were there. What a show! What a show! But anyway, and I asked Alec, and he said, "Wow, when you figure that out, you tell me." Because the last line of the show is my realization that my student killed my girlfriend. What do I do? Do I carry a gun? Do I go after him? Do I become now the hunter? Do I, I have no idea. Do I act the assassin? I have no idea.
It's so exciting. It really is. Like we care about this show now. We want to see what's going to happen, and that's so cool.
That's a lovely thing to say, isn't it? That's great.
It really is. Last year, you told me that reading a script for Barry was like reading Kashmir. So obviously, the show's writing will always make or break the show. And so thinking about the writing,
can I just say that that is the truth about entertainment in toto.
Yeah.
That if it's not on the page, it's not on the stage. You can try and make something happen that isn't there, but when it is written and it is thoughtful and every line means something and connects to something said on page 12, and now you're speaking on page 42, it's an amazement to watch the construction. And they have 4 or 5 other writers in their room, and each one of them is great.
Yeah. Well, I mean, I think you pretty much answered it, but the question was going to be something like, when it's so good, you don't have to try too hard as a performer, and does that allow you freedom to focus on other things like nuance? Or I'm not really sure, but I'm wondering, does it make your job easier so you can focus on other things?
It is true, because the simplicity of the writing in the structure comes freedom. I first heard that from a ballet dancer, that the steps are exactly the same for a famous ballet like Swan Lake, but it is what your being brings to that particular step inside the choreography that makes it fly. The same is true as for an actor. Bill and Alec are very clear about what they want. And then inside that structure, you can ad lib, you can go awry, they will bring you back, they will incorporate your thought. But if there is no structure, then there's no place to start. There's no foundation of the actual piece.
So it brings me back to this. It took you 40 years to win that much-deserved Emmy.
Yeah.
And now you're back, and we've alluded to this before, but by the way, if you win again, it's a very rare thing because it doesn't happen often in this particular category. The last time that a guy won back-to-back was Jeremy Piven 11 years ago. So that would be something cool. Not more history making. But the question is, so is the pressure off for the second win? Does it now just something that you're not, it's not such a huge, monumental, big weight on your shoulders if you don't have to win again?
On the one hand, on the adult me, absolutely that is true. I've thought that through. On the child me, it would be amazing if I won again. But, you know, what are you doing? No, no. I just wait a minute. No, come here. Come here. Okay. This is Sadie.
Hey.
And Sadie, say hi. She is a Labradoodle, and she is a year and a half old.
Oh,
And
yeah.
I had to get her because she was going to get a squeak toy, at which time we will all be driven insane.
Sadie, just one more minute, okay? And then we're done. And then you can
Only she could vote.
Please, let's be honest here now. Now, my final comment question for both you and Sadie is, I'm hoping you're aware that you've just also been, forget about Critics' Choice and Emmys, you've been nominated for a Golden Derby Award as well. And we just wanted to congratulate you on that. Very huge.
Thank you. I just saw that last week, and I am thrilled. I'm thrilled because, you know, you guys put yourselves on the line for taste, for who you think is going to win in every category of every award, actually. So to be nominated by you guys is pretty fantastic.
Well, thank you so much, Henry, for your time. Good luck at the Emmys. I've got my fingers and toes crossed for you, and we'll see you soon.
Thank you. And we're very happy that we were able to be here.
Now, to all Gold Derby fans and Barry fans, go to the site right now, make your predictions. Maybe you want to put Henry at #1, and then before you go, click subscribe and watch all of our great chats with great contenders just like him.